Welcome to the Art of Hitting channel. Today's special, Scott Rose, inside a softball family and the habits that last a lifetime. Enjoy. Well, behind the camera today, it's me, Ed Rose. I'm going to interview my son, Scott Rose, at University Park, Melbourne, Florida. This is a place he practically grew up at while I ran softball tournaments for USSSA and ISA. In high school, Scott played baseball, he played basketball, and he also played football, which he received a scholarship. He was the MVP and quarterback at O'Galley. He earned a scholarship to Southwest Baptist, finished at UCF, and those college years, during those college years, we played on a Class C USSSA tournament team, and we traveled all over. A lot of fun those days. Scott even started a softball association for his fraternity, and he picked up a few home run titles in the USSSA world in Class C. And what he did is establish a national championship for fraternities in softball. But instead of chasing softball like his dad, Scott poured himself into his family and business. His daughter Sydney graduated law school in May 2025. Sarah graduated from UCF, skates with Disney on Ice, and works with Scott's insurance agency. Scott sold one agency and took the other, and shares another one with his fraternity brothers, a new one he went to, and he's taken that to the next level. Unbelievable. If insurance had a Hall of Fame, he'd be on the first ballot. Today, we're talking how softball shaped his leadership, fatherhood, and career, and yes, how he learned to overlap grip. In Florida, they call me the overlap grip guy. I passed that technique into a lot of players that are very successful, and Scott's one of those players. So let's talk to Scott.
2% luck, 2% talent, 20% being a team player, and 77% never giving up. Be honorable.
Well, Scott, this is interesting. Here we are sitting here. I'm 79. You're what? How old?
52.
52. We had some time in softball, haven't we?
We have. It's been a good, fun ride, long road, a lot of memories.
Yeah, you know, I said, well, you didn't really start playing softball until you were when you were in college, right?
No, it was long before that. I mean, I kind of grew up on these fields. I can remember.
Well, yeah, as a kid, you were here since 6 years old.
Yeah.
So you got that from the flavor of softball. You know all about the inner workings of softball for sure. But what 3 lessons from softball would you still use every day?
You know, I mean, top of my head, there's more than 3. There's plenty of 3.
Yeah, well, just give me some that you.
You know, I think softballs, you know, can be a metaphor for life in some sense of, you know, hard work. You know, it's you know, baseball's a game of failure. Softball's a little bit more of a success rate on the batting average, but there still is a lot of failure. You know, there's a big mental aspect to it. You know, you have a great batting practice, you go to the game and you pop up your first 2 at bats. How do you overcome that?
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you overcome when you failed twice? How do you do that? Because that was going to be a question I was going to ask anyhow.
You know, for me, I'm an old quarterback, so you have to have a bit of amnesia. You know, when in the game of football, when you throw a bad pass or make a bad play, you got to forget about it and move on. And softball, I think, is the same way. I think if I start out and have a couple bad at-bats, you know, in a tournament or a game, I'll try to switch some things up. I'll try to get back to the basics, maybe bat on the shoulder, maybe, you know, a couple deep breaths before I swing, just changing things. I'm a routine guy, so I don't like to get totally out of my routine, but if I have a bad start, yeah, I'll make a couple adjustments.
Well, look, man, so, you know, I had a long softball career and had a lot of great friends, but the biggest joy that I had was I forget, you were probably 16 playing on the Rockets, and we had our whole family on the field.
Yeah.
You and Steven were playing on the Rockets, which was a championship youth team. And my older son Eddie and I were playing on, I forget what team we were at the time, but yeah, we were. That was great. The whole family on the field at one time. You can't. To me, that's like, I don't know. It's just something about playing with your sons that is great. We played USSSA, and you were a very good hitter. You know, we always thought, or I think, is my son as good a hitter at this age than I was, a better hitter at this age than I was. And I was thinking last night when I was preparing for this interview, well, hell, when you were in college and you're young, you were certainly a better hitter than I was when I was like 40-something and you were 20-something. So yeah, I guess you win that battle. What sticks in your mind about those days?
A lot of great games. A lot of, I can almost probably still go around and name the team of that old San Metellus team. There was a lot of good memories with that, just being the bat boy on that team and traveling. I think it was my first introduction to Cracker Barrel on a tournament in Tennessee back in the 80s.
I remember that first time I was there too.
So just little things like that. They're great memories growing up.
Traveled with the Omers in the van.
Coach Omer, absolutely. Yeah, we were road warriors. A lot of memories at this ballpark at Florida Avenue, Connect, the Rockets, Mr. Carlson, our coach. A lot of good memories and a lot of good relationships built.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not. Well, I'm sure you know it. This is the field that I put you in when you were 15 years old and went 4 for 5. You remember that?
This is the dugout.
This is the dugout?
Yeah, this is the dugout.
I think it was.
And came right here. I still remember, just gave it all I could. And I think all 4 hits barely went over the shortstop.
No, I didn't barely. They were hit good, man. They were solid, but they weren't rockets like you hit now, for sure. No. So let's move on to UCF. You started a softball association. Where'd you get that kind of idea?
I had a friend of mine at the time, fraternity brother. He was an entrepreneur before his time, and when we were at UCF, my junior and senior year, intramurals was everything to us and to a lot of folks. I mean, the crowds came out for the different games when you play different fraternities, and we just had the idea of let's contact some other schools and get some of their teams here, and we charged them a fee and paid for the umpires and paid for the fields and
made a little money.
I think we might have. I mean, as long as you're not the IRS, but we did. We had a lot of fun. It was a great real life business lesson, right?
Well, where'd you learn how to run tournaments and stuff?
Well, I learned from the man himself. I mean, I can remember growing up and
we had one once a month at least.
Yeah,
right?
Trying to figure out what this bracket was all about when you build these brackets and what was the if necessary game or just little things like that. But I was around it a lot when I was young.
How did it feel to be the tournament director and take all the heat?
Yeah, that's a tough gig. I had a wingman, unfortunately, but we were kind of doing your routine where you'd run the tournament, you'd also play in it.
Yeah, that doesn't work a lot of times. Yeah. They don't like. A lot of people don't like that, but
I think we wanted to. So there's that.
I don't know if you stacked a bracket like I'm famous for doing, but look, that was the mode of operation back in those days. We won't get into that because that's not what this is about. But let's move on a little. What did those softball habits show? With raising your girls, you instead of playing a softball as a vent for you or an escape, you stayed with your daughters and developed them.
Yeah.
What habits that you learned during the softball, being there, watching it, and just growing up in sports? I say softball, but you grew up in sports. You did every sport there was. So
I think you coined the phrase or athletics was kind of ingrained in our family, and that's no truer statement. I mean, we played them all. We we're always home late from games or practice, and weekends are filled with tournaments and a little bit of travel. But as far as my daughters, I think I don't feel like they saw me play a whole lot because once I hit 25, 27, I kind of hung it up on the competitive softball. I was playing some church league or some weekday base or softball. I think they saw you play probably more than me, and I feel like with their, both of them became very good competitive figure skaters, and I feel like that was kind of their softball. And
yeah, let me interrupt there, because what comes to mind with your daughters is that, you know, their other grandfather is like a brilliant rocket scientist,
Yeah.
and makes all this stuff and is creative. And they drew a picture of Bob, their other grandfather, and he was the smart guy, and they had me as the athlete.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Well, it is accurate. It's pretty damn accurate. But
Probably accurate.
I'm smart too.
Yeah, and he's an athlete, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, is there one quote from me that sticks out in your head? We talked a little bit about this last night. Why don't you explain what?
Yeah, listen, they come to me at certain times. Off the top of my head, you know, I always remember the one about you never live long enough to make all the mistakes in the world, so learn from the mistakes of others. I'll think of a couple here too, but that's always a good one. I mean, it's a kind of a humbling statement, you know, and you know, you listen more than you talk, and just learn from others, because that's how you're going to get better.
Yeah, what I liked when we went into discussion last night was that my two Dominican sons, they might as well be my sons. I think of them as sons. They said to you, "You sound like Ed."
Yeah, it's funny. You know, we've got a 9:30 call every morning with our team. We've got about 50 folks on the team, and yeah, I'll get the comment that, man, you sound just like Ed. But conversely, when I talk to those guys, they sound a lot like Ed too. So it's kind of a.
They ever talk about the lectures I gave them at the dinner table?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I had a famous statement when I was 40. I did this, you know, because a guy like me at 79, he can't perform like he did at 40.
Yeah.
And I come on this field, you know, I used to hit them over there in the trees, hitting them like you were hitting them today. Now, I can't even come close. I'm not sure I can even hit the fence. Maybe on a good swing and a good day, but it's not about me. So yeah, that was cool. Well, I'm gonna go into another subject now. So let me do that. You got it high enough, dude. Jesus. That's over. Well, let's talk about you being a father and how you dealt with you. I was very impressed with you focusing more on your kids skating than you know, playing softball or doing it. Well, you played some flag football a little bit, right? And mostly you did that with customers to build your clientele in the insurance business, right?
Well, I did it, I think, mainly to get out and exercise, and you know, still do enjoy playing football, and you know, I played softball as well. I did have some good relationships, and yeah, sometimes that flag football or softball was kind of my version of golf and business. You know, there was some business relationships.
Oh, you got to play golf in business.
Yeah. Or you can play softball.
Or you can play.
A lot of business is done through there. A lot of times it's just the relationships.
Oh yeah, that's crew business. That's critical in business relationships. Everything, if you want to build a solid business. Would you agree to that statement?
Yeah, I would. You know, I was lucky enough about a month ago. A good friend of mine, Donnie Jones, who is the head basketball coach at Stetson, had me come out and speak to his team. And I remember I told the team, I said, guys, listen, if I could teach a course in college, it wouldn't be on economics, it wouldn't be on advertising and marketing, it would be on relationships. That's everything. Go out there and establish your network. Start it at an early age, and you know, the old saying is your network is your net worth.
Your network is your net worth.
It is.
I haven't heard that one, but that is a great saying. Yeah. So now, you know, I got on my list here to ask you about how softball. What did you use softball in dealing with your kids? But I think it's got to be in a general sense of athletics, because that's what they were doing. I mean, what did you learn in your family growing up with, and softball was a big part of that, but we did other things. What did you learn that carried on to your daughters and you know, instilled in them? Because skating is one tough sport.
Very tough sport. Tougher than softball. I think for us, growing up, yes, softball was the vehicle for us. I think our girls, when they chose a sport, you know, they tried a few of them, and I just think they landed on figure skating for whatever reason. And yes, I think it's athletics in general. I think they teach a lot of good life lessons. I feel like that at those teenage years, it's important, in my opinion, to keep those kids busy, keep them in shape, keep them doing something. And for us at that time, it was skating, and in skating it paralleled our lives in softball a lot too. We traveled everywhere. I mean, I've been to every ice rink east of the Mississippi.
And Sarah was on the Olympic team, right?
Sarah was on the Team USA, U.S. national team. Which she skated in Russia probably 2 or 3 times. She skated international, competed it internationally. Had a very successful. Was probably one of the top junior skaters, at the time. And she had a decision to make when it came time to go to college, and has had a really good career with skating with Disney on Ice, and again,
she's like a head figure. She's like a star on Disney on Ice, right?
Yeah, she is. She's exited Disney on Ice here and landed in the corporate world with us. So her and I.
Oh, she did. I thought she was them both at the same time.
She did, and that's kind of come to an end. But we're having a good time. And in Sydney,
But she wasn't she. I mean, Sydney was technically a better skater. Beautiful. She did dance or whatever that was.
Sydney was. She did singles. Sarah skated with a boy in pairs, but Sydney was very graceful. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, graceful.
In some aspects, I think no offense, Sarah. I think Sydney was as good or better in some aspects of skating. Sarah was good or better in Sydney in some things, but the sport was great for Sydney as well. She graduated law school. I think it gave her a lot of graduated law school last month. Gave her a lot of ups and downs. Just gave her a lot of good lessons in life on how to push through on things. I mean, you fall on that ice, man, and people are looking at you. You can lay there, or you got to get up, and you ain't gonna lay there because the coaches aren't gonna put up with that. And you got to get up there, and you got to finish your routine. And if you fall on your first jump, you got to land your next 3. It's a great. Talk about a metaphor for life, man. That sport's a tough sport. Skating.
Yeah, falling down, getting up.
And those hurt when you fall too. So
I remember the first time you said, "Come on, I want to show you the girls ice skating." Oh, really? They were like 5 or 6 when they started. I came up there and I was waiting for it. They just barely walking. I said, "Man, that's great." And then fast forward 10 years, 15 years, and one guy's holding my granddaughter up in one hand. I'm saying, "Holy mackerel, don't drop her, man!" And then twirling around, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But kudos to you for supporting them and getting them where they're at today.
Yeah, I think for us, we talk about our family. When I was young, softball was the vehicle, and I think my family, as I'm older, ice skating was the vehicle.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The IQ of the club. Look at that. Now, that's the 315, 325. That was probably 350. I already told him that. Oh! Wow!
L3-4.
That one. How far did that go out?
Big time.
I mean, that's 325. It had to be 60?
At least 350. That was an old ball too.
Oh, it was an old ball too? That's what he hits best, I guess. Oh, there's another one. Holy shit, you on it now, dude. That is so high. That's a Bruce Meade shot there. Damn. That's with the combat, right? Yeah. You missed that one.
That's been a double, though, for you.
No, double it.
Today you heard how a childhood spent at the ball field, University Park, early mornings, long weekends, and total commitment became a playbook for life. Build the right circles and protect it, because your network becomes your net worth. The habits are the same: preparation, controlled aggression, gratitude. And when failure happens, and it will, own it, review it, adjust one thing, stack your reps, and step back in. For me, that's how softball shaped fatherhood, business, and everything in between. Thanks for riding with us.